Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the German Tier 7 Tech Tree light tank, the SP-1C, the SpahPanzer 1C. And this is a light tank that back in the day actually had a 3-shot autoloader, which you now kind of see in the Tier 8 form of the Trailblazer, or the Tiger Shark, or the Rip Rod, or the Fast Track. All exactly the same tank. Basically, that tank is actually the HWK-12, but with a very similar version to the auto-loading 3-shot gun that the SP-1C here at Tier 7 used to get. And that 3-shot auto-loading SP-1C was pretty damn fun to play. I used to play it with both versions of the gun. So you used to have the single-shot version of the gun, which is like this version of the gun that you see right here. And they had the 3-shot autoloader 240 Alpha gun, which you could drive around going blap, blap, blap with, and it was really nice. You dealt damage really quickly, and you could really hurt enemy light tanks, especially, quite a lot with it. That HE round on the move, though, oh, that RU is unlucky, especially with the HE round being so slow. But yeah, when they changed the light tanks in the, when they added the Tier 10 lights, way back, it got rid of that 3-shot autoloader that they gave, or that they had on this tank, and they replaced it with a single shotgun on this tank. That's actually worse as well than the old single shotgun, because the old single shotgun used to have the same stats that the one on the Rip Rod or the Tiger Shot, where all those have got. And they nerfed it down to 158 standard pen with 210 heat pen, as opposed to the, 175 premium pen? Standard pen, sorry, and 250 heat pen, or something like that in that regard, anyway. And they changed it, which it really quite hurt the tank, because the pen difference was like, oh, that's not nice. It got a little bit less mobile as well, because it's got 58 km/h top speed. And it just all round hurt the tank a little bit. Now, one thing that this tank does suffer from is horrendous shell velocity. Yeah, the shell velocity on this tank is pretty poor. It's got 630 meters a second on the AP and the heat, and the HE has 338 meters a second. It really loops the HE rounds, which is why I say that shell on that RU was really lucky that it hit on the move, and RNG definitely helped me in that regard. Its reload's pretty decent though, and a 2.2 second aim time is pretty good. 0.36 accuracy is not bad as well, but like I said, the shell velocity can really quite hurt it too. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, although you don't quite have that over the front. You do have to get the gun over the side, just like the other tanks, to get the most of it. But you still do have decent gun depression over the front, as opposed to the Tiger Shark and that, which I think is like, what, 5 over the front and then 10 over the side, something like that. So it's still a side turner for your gun depression, but you can still get more than you can in the others. So this tank is definitely one that I do really quite enjoy the challenge of, because it's also got fantastic camo on the SP-1C. You've got 370 meters of steel concealment before the camo net. And then you put the camo net on and it gets even lower. So you can have really good camo on this tank, and if you kit it out, you can get some really sneaky positions and get some really good spotting assist, which helps on maps like Prokhorovka. But as long as you don't drive like an idiot, because the problem with the SP-1C as well is it's got similar to the Vanguard or any other tank that's not got the most powerful engine in the universe and is really light, and that is the fact that if you hit something like a tree, you stop absolutely dead. Like, there is no hope for you keeping on moving. So you just have to be wary of that with your driving, which doesn't help me because my driving is absolutely abysmal, right? And you might see a little bit of that in the next replay, typically. So, in terms of recruit on the SP-1C, I do run a pretty standard light tank crew for what I've been running these days on my lights. And that is Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, and Run and Gun. I run all 3 of the gun perks to make sure this gun is as good as possible, and with those gun perks, I don't really feel like I have to run vert stabs that much on it. So I run those so I don't have to do that, and I can free up a slot. And yeah, the gun is pretty much good enough for me. As you see in some of these shots on the move, the gun handles pretty well enough for me without the vert stabs. And I make sure I've got the best camo I can possibly get with the camouflage expertise and the muffled shot, because I reduced the effect of firing on my camo with the muffled shot, and then as 10% better with the camo. Because I'm a light tank, I want to make my camo better. And in terms of equipment, I run the camo net, vents, and optics. I run camo net naturally to make my steel concealment, which is absolutely fantastic at 317 better. And I can get it down to 250 with that setup, which is really, really good and can help me be really, really stealthy and get that fantastic spotting damage out. And I run vents and optics to make sure that the view range is exceptionally high, because you can get it up to 510 meters view range with those two in there, and that is really quite overkill, but at the same time it makes sure that my view range is absolutely filthy and I can really spot the enemy tanks really effectively, and thus on maps like, especially like Prokhorovka, I can pump up my spotting damage by spotting the enemy team. Really, you could drop vents if you wanted to, and put vert stabs on if the gun is really annoying you, or you could run the rammer to make sure that the gun fires quicker if you wanted to. It's all down to personal preference. I just wanted to overkill my view range, which is why I run what I run. So in this first game on Prokhorovka, you've seen us run this one line and get 5.1k spotting so far with 1950 damage. They've got 5 tanks left, the artillery in the corner, that STRVK there, and other stuff that we haven't seen yet. We're going to try and maneuver into a position to get a shot at this artillery, which we fire on the move and hit. This is why I say I don't really run the vert stabs, because the gun handles well enough for me without them, and I can just buff up other things. And by the way, if you can't tell, this replay was from a wee while ago in this tank, because I don't play this tank very often, so because I already 3-marked it a very long time ago, so naturally I get very, very few replays in this tank. They are very few and far between for me in this thing, because let's say if I 3-marked it, there's not really, especially with having nearly 800 tanks in my garage, there's very few reasons to play the tank when I've done it, been there, done that, right? But it is a fairly fun tank to play. It takes a lot to get the most out of it because of the fact that it's not the quickest light tank in there. It's got very little armor. Its shell velocity is slow, but it's got nice view range and really good camo. So if you can abuse the view range and camo, you can get some pretty nice results out of it. So, like I say, we're up to 5.3k damage now with that assassination. Oh, sorry, 5.3k assistance and 2.3k damage, sorry, with the assassination on that STRVK. There's now the light tank and a medium tank. It's that other light tank we just saw there, and the Barask, which I believe was spotted up on the hill. So we're just going to run over and try and get this light tank. We've got to be careful of the Barask. Well, the SP1C is now dead, so there's just the Barask. We do have to be careful of the Barask because he can kill us in one shot. And there we go, he gets spotted up on 798 hit points, which is kind of awkward for us. We fire the shot on the move because, well, in this game so far, the shells on the move have not been too bad. Try and lead a shot onto the Barask there, but unfortunately for me, he just turned, or should I say, I expected him to turn and he didn't, and we missed the shot. He's now barreling towards me and the other light tank. He starts looking at us, and I'm thinking, well, I'm dead here. We get a nice shot into him on the move. He misses his first shot. He's got one left, which he can still kill us with unless he low rolls. We get another shot into him on the move, which is glorious. So it's been pretty good this game for hitting shots on the move. We boost our reload and our accuracy with the food there. We missed the heat shell on the move, though, this time, because we didn't really lead it. He's still travelling. He gets tracked by the other light tank. I miss, and I think, oh god, I'm going to die. Thankfully, luck comes in. RNG comes in and saves the day, and he doesn't manage to kill us with that. He should have killed us there, but thankfully he only tracked us. And finished the game with 5 kills, 3k damage, 5.3k assistance, ace tanker, the 2,355 base XP. A really nice game for the SP1C in a tier 9 game, which we got kind of lucky not to die on 2 occasions there, to that Barask and to the 704. And I mean, that's what, 8k combined for a tier 7 light tank? We'll take that every single day. And in this second replay, we are on not steps. Why did I say steps? It's not steps. It's clearly not steps. There's a lot of sand and there's a river through the middle of the map. So it's Sand River. Yeah, it's one of my favourite maps to play, Sand River. I do like playing on Sand River. And we're going to have a good time and a fun time in the SP1C here. So it is encounter. So their team spawns really close to these dunes, and so does ours. And what I want to do is push up to the dune at D6, and from there I can shoot across at the people that move up onto the A8 position. So we're coming in here. There's an EBR Hotchkiss here who gets a shot into us. We get a nice shot on the move into the Dragon, and we're just pumping shots as many as we can into this EBR Hotchkiss. The dragon also comes over and gets a shot into us. He's now coming after us, which is really quite annoying. So I have to keep moving to make it as hard as possible for these guys. The EBR Hotchkiss is now a one-shot for us. The dragon hits us again, which is so sad. We are leading the shot there onto the dragon. We track him in place, and I'm like, please, people, shoot him. He's gonna kill me. He misses, thankfully, and he's dead. Oh, my God, that was chaotic. Whew. Yep, that was a chaotic moment right there. I don't really know how we survived that. We probably should have died as two light tanks YOLO'd us, but thankfully, that's 2 YOLO light tanks out of this game already in the first minute of the game. For most of my hit points, sure, but 1 tier 7 light tank took out the 2 tier 7 light tanks with a bit of help from my friends. But I was kind of being YOLO'd at that point going, why aren't I being helped? Where is the help? Please help me. Thankfully, someone shot that dragon, which meant that we could survive. But this is the position I wanted to take. And that is because, again, you can shoot the people that go across the A-line. As you can see, we can keep This is how good the camo is on this tank. We can keep spotting this Slayer, and he can't see us until we fire. So we just keep poking up and popping shots at him. And realistically, if we think he's going to fire at us, we can just wait until we get unspotted, then go for the shot. So as you can see right here, he is just sitting and waiting for us. So I get unspotted, and I'm like, you know what, I'll wait till he fires, because he's going to fire and try and blind fire me. Thankfully, though, he ended up... Well, thankfully, he did blind fire, and he missed, because we didn't instantly go up on top of the ridge. We're up to 1,960 damage so far, with 376 assistance, and we're going to see if we can get a shot at this AMX M445, which we managed to get in. Again, I mean, that guy's at, what, less than 300 meters, and he still didn't see us with our camo, which, like, is very, very, very good. It's why you really want to spec for the camo build. It makes it so that you can do your work pretty damn nicely. Unfortunately, we missed the shot there on the artillery that was running away. The GW Panther gets spotted, and it's like, hello, Mr. GW Panther. We fortunately hit that shot on that guy, though. I'm not quite sure how, because there was a dodgy bobble on the ridgeline that made it so that we weren't quite looking at him. But we are, thankfully, farming this GW Panther, who is looking at someone else. Did that not hit? That must have been the shell velocity managing to hit that guy after he died. But we've run out of AP. We're onto the heat now because we've fired a lot of shells so far, especially in that first engagement. And we are low-rolling consistently against this Tiger 1. And then we finally hit him for 235. I'm going to say we do have 220 alpha, though, on this tank. That is something you've got to be careful of. It's not the sort of standard 240. It is 220 alpha. So you can roll for that less than 100, but I would have said he's possibly running armor angling for those 290 rolls, but who knows. We're up to 3.4k damage with 1 kill. There's 5 tanks left on the enemy team. There's an artillery and the heavy tank, the MXM 445 that we saw go up north, and 2 tank destroyers and a medium tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to patrol this ridge line to see if I can spot either the tank destroyers or the medium tank. And there we go. We end up spotting the Vengeance. So I am lighting him up for our team, and we get a big assistance hit there. We fire a shot while he's on fire, pen him. And because he's on fire, his view range was actually worse than it should have been. So he didn't spot us again. We're up to 3.6k damage now with the 2k assist, which is it's going really well for us in a tier 8 game. The Yahtzee gets spotted down here. We know the Scorpion is on our right, so we're just going to pop up over here and start shooting this Yahtzee. As soon as I get spotted, though, and start getting detected, I'm like, I've got to be careful because of that Scorpion. So we move into between this rock here to protect me from the Scorpion, get those nice 2 shots with the heat into that Yahtzee, slam a heat shell straight into the Scorpion, hopefully get the kill on this guy, but, well, we do get the kill on that guy. I thought we were going to miss because we didn't lead that very well. And there is just the artillery left. I'm thinking, can I slide down this hill? Oh, no. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, my driving is absolutely impeccable, all right? I don't want to hear it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Wouldn't be me without killing myself in a light tank. Anyway, we finished with 2 kills, 4.4k damage, 2.1k assistance, the ace tank of the high caliber, the Confederate, 2,300 base XP in a tier 8 game. Again, another really nice game for the SP1C, which is a decent little light tank. You just have to try not to play too active in it because the speed and the shell velocity tend to let it down against other light tanks. Although we did pretty well against that EBR and the Dragon as well. But it is what it is. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.